Thank you very much. My great pleasure to be here. Today I'm going to talk about the environmental consideration in this industry, especially when the carbon footprint of fashion industry account for almost 10% of emissions. So, okay. Okay, yes. Okay, a little bit about myself. I was trained as an energy economist and start my sustainability journey back to 20 years ago. Um, First of all, I would like to talk about the environmental aspect, especially the driving force behind to do ESG and to show our concerns in climate change. Um, as you can see, we are facing all these pressing concerns, ranging from our food, our energy, and finally our survival. So as you can see, more and more guidelines on ESG, on sustainability, um, will be introduced or have already introduced by our regulators and different governments. So now we are at a, I would say, very critical moment to face the reality. I'm not too sure whether you read the news today. The UN Secretary Anthony said the global warming, the era of global warming already passed. Now is the era of global boiling, a record-breaking July. Can you feel that? Okay, do you feel the difference? Okay, be honest to ourselves. We really need to take action instead of keep saying about this issue is important. Organizing all this conference, keep talking years by years without action. Okay, so I'm so glad that we all willing to work together to see the changes. So the entire ecosystem, we need to have big changes, looking at the natural resources, looking at the balance of the entire function of this ecosystem, together taking our economy into consideration. And also, we need to start to look at the green finance. Always financial powers have a bigger voice than environmentalists. Okay, where has all the money gone? That's matter. So trying to direct all this capital into green projects, into something meaningful to help our planet, please. Okay, so for the externality we need to look at is nowadays, according to UNDP research, how to quantify all this negative impact, externality. In the past, we produce, but we pollute, okay? Air pollution, causing all these higher costs of hospitalization. But who paid the social costs? Government, the public. But now, that should be included in the P&L of our enterprise. Who produce the products and make profit? So I think for all this discussion in green finance is how we can put a price tag on all this environmental and social impact and reflect the true cost. Okay? So you will see, according to some kind of research, in the garment industry, ranging from all this dyeing process, material manufacturing, and into the final product about the disposal. That cause different types of impact and pollution. That equivalents to 50 billion of plastic bottles into the ocean, or 10% annual global carbon emissions. Okay, we see the impact. Then what can we do? Not only one or two companies they are responsible for, but the entire industry. Okay, say for example, the blue jeans. How many of you are wearing a blue jeans now? Not too many, only one or two audience. Okay, so again, a small size of blue jeans, but really being a big impact. 1 billion liters amount of water. Okay, kind of saving, but 11 billion kilogram of clothing end up in the landfill. You know, we have bought many clothes, but finally we throw them away. Okay, we found all this in the landfill. So I got one, I have to admit. Okay, this brand, definitely. I think you have one as well. So let's look at all these kind of impact and implication and the life cycle of the entire one. But some positive sign is when you look at the aspect of the company does not invest in sustainability, the percentage reduce, which means now companies put more emphasis in sustainability. That requires investment, money to make things change, okay? So that's important. The value driven by the personal value, yes, also driven by your competitors, okay? So now we are not asking the question whether we should do it or not. It's how, when, how fast, okay? But if you look at the willingness of consumer, still there is a big gap, okay? The attitude to say, okay, do you want to do something good? The answer is always yes, but for the real action being taken, you know, still a gap. If you look at all these items on the right-hand side, from sustainable packaging, natural fiber clothes, all this, I think some require education, even as a customer. Can you distinguish, you know, among all these different ingredients and components, you know, of the products you are going to buy? Okay, so I think looking at this gap, we can do something. We can engage the customer. We can engage the manufacturer to provide more information to make the comparison. It's always, you know, easy to be said than done. If you look at the entire supply chain, we need to go through from the cotton, from the wood, from the very raw material mining to the manufacturing process. That creates different level, different types of impact, ranging from consumption of energy, water, even the chemical use. Some might be toxin. And finally, you know, a huge amount of waste created. So now we look at the entire value chain, including our supply chain. What can we do in each components? Okay, in different locations, different countries, different process, different types of energy required to fix all this. It's not easy, right? I have to say. Yeah, you have very small players in a specific part of the entire life cycle. So, say for example, SDG 12, you know, making the less progress compared to all other SDG goals. But I have to say I'm an accredited trainer, one of the 2 accredited trainers in Hong Kong on SDG impact standard. It's difficult to change mindset, to change the consumer behavior. But when you look at all these sustainable consumption pattern, the criteria requires, we have 17 SDG goals, 169 sub-targets, 231 indicators. So we need to look into each goals with all these indicators. And you will see a lot of work need to be done. Okay, not easy. And you need to engage your supply chain as well. The resources, the former part, and also after usage, the disposal part in the end of the entire loop of the life cycle. And then you need to consider the reuse of the waste, recycling of the waste, and even some landfill need to be considered. So lots of work we can see. Okay, some positive example my researcher trying to find on the website. I frankly speaking, I have to confess, I have no knowledge about all this company. Okay, they said they have done something good. Okay, then it's good. Okay, it's always good to get started. So this kind of fabric, you know, they follow the ISO standard, the 14001, the environmental one, and they also set target, like our guest, the previous company, they mentioned about, you know, using environmental friendly material, renewable energy, you know, water resources reduction, all this. If you look into details, then talk about some kind of recycling over 1 million pounds of fabric, and also the patent for the dyeing process without producing wastewater. I don't know how they achieve this. Sorry, I have no idea. But I try to bring this up, what they really intend to do or they have done, making a contribution to the environment. Energy use, reducing waste, a Renaissance yarn program. Okay, so, but I think the manufacturing part is important. We can do something. But on the consumer side, yes. Okay, Patagonia, quite famous in the industry. You know, I always doubt whether their marketing director has been fired by the company or not. Because the marketing campaign they promote is, don't buy too much, don't buy the jacket we produce. Okay? How can you keep your job? You know, sometimes they want to attract the young generation. Okay, something gimmick is, okay, buy one only that suit you most. Don't buy too much. Okay, don't create waste. Then you know the ending of the story, right? Yes, good sale. Okay, lots of product. Okay, welcome by the customers. They have a good sale on this. Although they encourage people, don't buy. Okay, then people will do the opposite. Come on. Okay, so but what I want to say is the value, the principle they promote. Okay, now is how many clothes you buy and you change your mind when you back home, and you never wear that clothes or even don't open the packaging. Lots of. And finally, during the Chinese New Year, what will you do? Key up the space for the new clothes to come and dump all these unopened packaging, okay? Anyway, this one is similar. Again, asking the consumer, don't buy too much. Just buy what you need, okay? For the bookshelves, only one pile and follow another. If your books number keep increasing, then buy the additional one. Something like that, okay? Avoid wastage, you know, just buy what you need. But what I want to say is nowadays from a sustainability perspective, it's a real case, okay? A sport company, a shoe company, sports shoe company, they ask the consultant to do a research for them to look at their future competitiveness. So what their consultant advise is change your raw material supply, diversify, you know, all these ingredients. Why? Because of the environmental change. So environmental issue is no longer about water pollution, air pollution, or we want a clean air. It's about, a very critical element for your future business survival and competitiveness. Due to the extreme weather, incidents keep increasing. You will see the supply of this feedstock. Because they use leather to produce the shoe. Leather is the key raw material for their shoes. But the feedstock price keep increasing. Why? Extreme weather. All this, you see our food price also increase, okay, nowadays. Then that brings a kind of uncertainty to the future supply chain. So they ask the shoe company, okay, use other material. Or maybe there are some financial implication. Plastic, metal, or other types of material. Don't stick to only one, putting all the eggs in one basket. Okay? So they change. Diversify the risk. So what I want to say is nowadays we should have a very different mindset. It's not merely an environmental issue, no longer. Look at your entire supply chains, how they related to the ecological change, the weather, everything. Okay, so now for the second part, now I move on to talk about, we have a big picture, we see the impact, we want to fix it, but I want to go into detail is as I'm a climate expert, so I want to talk about carbon footprint. Okay, so that's the different types of greenhouse gas created. Okay, 7 types of greenhouse gas, the global warming, the climate change issue. Okay, so what I want to say is, apart from your operation, as we can see from the previous presentation, impressive reduction in carbon emission. I remember, in scope 1 or 2 from your company operation, in energy use, in your transport, your company vehicles. But scope 3, the most headache part. Okay, scope 3 is your supply chain, the emission of your suppliers. Come on, I've never met my supplier. They are only a small shop with 3 people running their business. How can I ask them to give me the carbon emission figures? But I am now responsible because the big brand, they now want me to cut my scope 3 emission, your supplier's emission. You are accountable. Oh, headache. A big problem, challenges. So that's the, the EU taxonomy already requests to disclose scope 3, no compromise. And the CBAM, cross-border adjustment mechanism, those product manufactured in China from the Chinese factory, also, they need to do the life cycle assessment, to neutralize their carbon footprint when they need to go to the European market. No kidding. Okay. Although we see different industry, they might have different, in different stage, their footprint, okay, create, and also in different amount. Just give you a concept. And the clothes, you will see the larger part happening in dining and finishing, and the young preparation, followed by the fiber. Okay, another case I want to say is there is hope. Okay, although I want to declare some kind of interest. I'm helping some clothing company, garment manufacturer to do the sustainability journey. Okay, making this transformation low carbon. So I have some or little knowledge about a little bit knowledge about the garment factory. But this case is another industry. You heard about the interface, carpet. Here we have carpet. Okay, the commercial flooring. So do you know where has all this carpet gone when you move office or your campus, move to another bigger one? how do you handle all these carpets? Landfill, yes, correct. If you have 10,000 square feet of office space, 100,000 office square feet space, all this carpet will go to landfill when you move. So this gentleman I respect very much, but I will call him a crazy business entrepreneur. Why? He said he wants to recycle all the carpet, all the used carpet. Okay. What did they do in their companies? They set the target: eliminate waste, emissions, use 100% renewable energy, closing the loop, the circularity. Okay, putting back all this used material into the raw material back to the production loop. Transportation, they take care of the related emission and waste. All this, engaging their stakeholders. One interesting program they have done is to recycle another material for their own product. What's that? Okay, look at this. The carpet table tiles looks good, like an ocean. Okay. And this one, okay, looks okay lah. Okay. Then, do you know where does all this raw material come from? Nylon, number 6. That is from the fish net. You know fish net, the fisherman? So after using the fish net for 2 years, with some holes and some kind of defect and damage, what will the fisherman do about this fish net? Dump it, yes. Dump it in the rubbish bin? No rubbish bin is big enough. Dump into the sea, the ocean. Then what will happen? Our poor tortoise, our pretty sea creatures, trapped by all this fish net, being killed. And all this waste, pollution. What will they do? The interface, this foreign company, they collect back all this dumped fish net, clean it, recycle it, because that is the similar material used in producing the carpet. I show you the carpet already, okay? Then they use the money, part of the money, to subsidize the fishermen's children education. So it becomes a very positive reinforcement, collect the waste, and then fix the ocean issue, helping the fishermen, giving them reason and motivation. Sounds great, right? Win-win situation. So they keep talking about each choice we make has a cause. Okay, don't be naive. They are businessmen. Okay, is it easy to use recycled product? What will you ask? What kind of questions? Is it costly? Higher cost? You need to, sometimes you produce something new. It's much cheaper than you recycle something. Okay, spending, a lot of money to fix all this waste issue. But you see the philosophy they want to learn. They are humble. They trying to make a balance. They are aware of the ESG, environmental issue, social issue, and also the financial implication. Okay, after more than 10 years, I think maybe 20 years approaching, what have they achieved for their companies? 69% greenhouse gas cut, 80% water save, almost half of the material from all these recycled or bio-based source. Okay, cradle to gate product, less waste sent to landfill. Amazing? Yes, quite impressive, right? Not bad. But do you think they can do it in day one? Why they spend so many years? Technical hurdle, financial hurdle, they need to overcome. Even they are willing to do it. Is the technology available? Can they convert all this material? You know, that's the reality. I never say it's easy, but at least you need to make the decision, okay? Trying to do it, trying to fix it. So that is a very impressive, achievement, winning the business, but more important, winning the customer. Why? If you are office A, you are office B, you want to move again. A company come and say, I can recycle your carpet. Next time when you move, tell me. Customer retention. You save 80% of your energy, 50% of your water. What will be your cost look like? Competitive. Okay? Doing sustainability, meaning doing good, but also save costs to make you more competitive. You keep your customer, you are more competitive in your business, you help the environment, fix the, all these sea creatures, ocean issue. Impressive, I would say quite impressive. But it takes, long years to achieve all this, not one day or two. Other examples, I won't be long-winded, as I think I only got five minutes left, right? Okay, so I hope it's not only a gimmick. I hope the company will try to increase their portion of, sustainable element and to do all this. Or this one, they said they never spend money on advertising. Maybe that's a kind of gimmick. But I heard also criticism on this. I'm not too sure, okay? I just do some research. But one important thing is now people trying to find raw material or alternative material, not from the food-based, material. That won't cause any impact to the agricultural needs. Okay, so they try to dig it out from the waste source or different kinds of unwanted, unused material. I think that's the direction. Okay, but we need to make sure it's a real one. Like biodegradable materials, all headache. Okay, some microplastic, or you use sustainable packaging. Okay, plastic bag, but that creates how many times of methane during the production. You solve one problem and create another much serious problem. Come on, look at the life cycle, look at all the materials and entire process. What are the real environmental impact? Be honest. Okay, so some companies I saw they trying to look into all this part by part, from raw material to manufacturing to the transport, to the manufacturing process, then to the distribution, and even they consider end of life. You need to have this circularity starting from your product design. Okay, you're already in day one to think about how to collect back all this, putting back into the loop of the production. Okay, and then, to the retail, to the consumers. So nowadays, when they calculate the emissions, one property developers in Hong Kong, they trying to calculate even the consumption of their tenants of the entire building in day one, about Scope 3. They want to see the entire picture of the total emissions, Scope 1 and 2 and 3. So what happened? That is the last two slides, okay? You are, okay, so I think Some best practice you will see in the future. We already use virtual sample. I think some are already using, but I know some challenges. We make good use of technology, no doubt that's the direction, but sometimes we still have some real issues to face. But hopefully we change our mindset. We try to advance our technology, to get close to the real needs. I think that's the direction. But you will see all these changes. Overproduction issue, hazardous chemicals will no longer be used, waterless process. We see some technology, but I still think it takes some time to go through all this, making a real advancement, and the cost after reaching the economies of scale can go down. That's the much need. And some other textile waste, waterless, is a Hong Kong invention, I was told. Yep, so that's also encouraging, to recycle some fiber, although not in a big capacity still. The yarn, one of the large carbon footprint. And this one is in LA, again, kind of recycling. Anyway, yeah, I hope to learn from your industry. Hope to know more about the garment, the fashion, business model, and is willing to see the real changes. And we have this 5 process. In phase 1, we just look at the cost, making ourselves very competitive, grabbing the largest market share, to compliance, to fulfill the regulators' requirement, causing less pollution. To governance, we engage our suppliers to do good. And later, the strategic integration, we welcome stakeholders, all this consortium alliance to do good and to produce a higher standard. And finally, hopefully we plant this sustainability, ESG, into our DNA to run our business, using all this ESG lens to look at each process when making the business decision. Each decision had a cost according to the interface. That's the reality. But hopefully we can work together. Sometimes one company cannot solve the issue. Even the whole industry cannot. But we should work together, to face the common challenges. Okay, time's up. Just on time. Thank you very much.